Welcome back to the channel, Plooper Troops. I'm your host, Dylan, and with all of the list videos that I've made and released recently, I wanted to share with you my list of 5 JRPGs that I want to check off my backlog in 2024. This was an idea that I got from John over on Chicken Fillets, who just made a video like this recently, and something that was said by a longtime friend of the channel, Generation Pixel, in his recent Best Games That He Played 2023 video. I'm probably going to butcher what he said, and this is in no way a direct quote, but he said something to the effect of, if we continue to buy games and add them to our front log, and we never play games from our backlog, eventually all the games we buy end up in our backlogs, and it just becomes a never-ending vicious cycle of never finishing the games that we buy. So 2024 is going to be a year that I plan to check a lot of games off my backlog if I have the time, and I think that I will. And that means returning to JRPGs, which are my favorite genre of video game. I typically love the stories told here and the characters. I'm also a big sucker for anime-looking games, and a lot of these games feature characters that are anime style. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to returning to what I consider to be my favorite video game genre. I say that, and also it's a classic Dylan moment if you follow this channel for any amount of time. Things tend to be my favorite series, games, what have you, and I don't really engage with them as much as I probably should or would be expected of somebody who says they're my favorite. It's been some years, I think, since I've actually finished a JRPG game. I want to say the last one that really comes to memory is Persona 5 on that release, so it's been quite a while since I've actually finished a JRPG, at least that I can remember right now. I have picked up and played a bunch throughout the years, but yeah, just haven't really stuck with one until the end. So I'm looking forward to doing that with these 5 games that come from a very long list that were very hard to choose from. Now this doesn't mean I'm not going to try any of those other games on my list, but these are the 5 games that I'm prioritizing of this genre to finish this year. I'm also going to be making another list that are just general games that are not JRPGs, because that was what this video was supposed to be, but the JRPG list got very out of control very quickly. If you like this content, the best way you can support me and my channel is through subscribing and liking this video. I also would like to hear what JRPGs, or just games in general, that you're looking forward to finishing in 2024 and finally dusting off of your backlog shelves. With that being said, sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's talk about my top 5 JRPGs that I want to finish in 2024. Coming in at number 5 on my list is Fire Emblem Engage. Fire Emblem is a series of games that I have been a long time fan of. I remember my dad bought me what I believe was the first Western release of Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance. I could be wrong there, but I think it was the first time that Fire Emblem had seen a Western release. And I just immediately fell in love with the series. I loved like the pixel-esque kind of graphics. I loved the vibrant colors of the characters. I thought all the characters were very well designed and very easily recognizable. I loved the stories. And since then I have just bought pretty much every Fire Emblem game. I think I've at least played every Fire Emblem game that's out there, but I have not finished very many of them. I actually don't know if I've ever actually finished one, despite this being one of my favorite video game series. It's a classic Plooper Troop moment of not finishing any of these. That also includes the wonderful release that was Fire Emblem 3 Houses, which I played quite a bit of, but then just never went back to finish. And I think that this is a bad habit of mine of buying Switch games and just kind of letting them rot. I want to spend more time on my Switch this year. I have a lot of really good JRPGs on my Switch, so I'm going to be spending more time sitting in bed playing these JRPG games and getting through them. The gameplay here and the fanfare of all of the classic characters being able to be called upon just looks like a ton of fun. It looks like a game for Fire Emblem fans. And while I have heard that the story is a bit weaker here, and that did turn me off at first, I kind of just want to experience this game on my own and make my own conclusions, because I have a bad habit of doom scrolling reviews to see if a game is worth it or not, when that's what I do on my channel, is review games. So I think I should just be a little bit nicer to myself and let myself enjoy something and see what I think about it. Maybe my little ape brain will love the simplified story of Fire Emblem Engage, who knows. With that being said, I am really looking forward to getting into this game, and I think that it's about time that I return to one of my favorite series and lead my fearless troops into battle in the upcoming year with Fire Emblem Engage. Number 4 is a game that I can't say a ton about. I do remember that I played a little bit of this. I originally thought I'd never pick this up, but I do remember playing a tiny bit of this game on a stream at some point in the last couple of years or last year, and that's Bravely Default 2. This was a game that was recommended by Generation Pixel as his, what he called his repayment to me for my recommendation of Persona 5 a few years back. And what I do remember about this game from reading about it, watching it, and I guess playing a little bit of it for myself, is that the combat mechanics of using the Brave and Default system was really neat. I liked the cast of characters that I did get to interact with, and I love the art style of this game, going on like the more chibi looking characters. I think that art styles like this tend to survive becoming outdated, where like the more realistic looking stuff tends to look pretty bad as the years pass. So yeah, I can't say a ton about what this game is. I can't say a ton about what the narrative is supposed to be about or anything like that. I know that it's supposed to be a more classic JRPG kind of thing coming from Square Enix, and I am really looking forward to getting into that and seeing if I vibe with this game as well as Generation Pixel did with Persona 5. So yeah, number 4, Bravely Default 2. Really looking forward to giving a brand new series a try. Number 3 on my list is a game that's been sitting in my backlog for quite some time, and I recently talked about this in the games that I picked up for the Steam sale haul, other games in the series I mean, and that is Trails in the Sky First Chapter from the Legend of Heroes series, or the Kiseki series as it's known in Japan. These games are a series that I have heard many good things about but have constantly eluded me, and I'm finally starting them. I've actually already started this game, the very first game in the series. I decided to play them in release order, and I've been playing through this, and I've been really enjoying my time in it so far. It's very cozy. While the combat and stuff is intricate, it's still simple enough for me to get the grasp of pretty quickly, and I feel like just the pacing of the game I know is a turnoff for some people, but for me, I like slower burns, and it kind of gives you time to just sit with these characters and get to know them. So yeah, after years of wanting to play these games, I'm finally going to just be diving in, finishing this game, releasing my review on it when I'm done with it, and maybe I'll cover 2 of these games this year. It depends on how good the story is. I just kind of let the anxiety of where to start take over, and so I just put the game away for a while, but I have decided that after picking up most of the franchise on the winter sale this year, that I'm just going to start in release order and finish these games. This should be a fun time in 2024 to start another brand new RPG series. That's kind of a theme this year of finally getting into these series that have eluded me for many years. So yeah, here's to hoping that I enjoy the Kiseki series as much as their dedicated fan base does. Number 2 on my list is a legendary JRPG that I have never finished, and it comes from a legendary series from a legendary developer, and that is Final Fantasy VII, the original release. I still have yet to finish the remake as well, but I'm going to focus on finishing Final Fantasy VII OG because I want to be able to play that entire story from start to finish before the remakes are done. That way I can, see what the hype was about. I want to see if maybe I enjoy the story as much as other people do. To some people, this is the greatest JRPG ever released, and I've never finished it. I've only played maybe the first hour of this game. As much as I love Final Fantasy, it is kind of a common thing that I haven't finished most of them, and a lot of them I haven't even played yet. So this will be the first and hopefully a series of finishing these Final Fantasy games and getting caught up with the series and trying to understand where the disconnect comes from people like me who enjoy the games after 7 and people who are in the older generation who maybe think that every game after 7 sucks. I also think from the time that I have spent in the remake and what I do know about the characters from this game, that I enjoy the cast of characters. I think Cloud's a pretty cool, emo, angsty main character. Although I was surprised at what I did play at Final Fantasy VII, that he's not as emo as he is in Kingdom Hearts. So I think that was pretty interesting. But yep, here is another JRPG that I'm going to be focusing on finishing and trying to understand the love for this classic and legendary game. And number 1 on my list is kind of a cheating move here to include 2 games at number 1, but I just can't decide which one of these I'm going to play first, and that would be Persona 4 Golden or Persona 5R. Persona 5 is my favorite video game of all time as of right now, and I had such a blast playing through it for the first time. It was one of the first games that really captured my attention, and every day after school or work, I was playing. I basically played that 100 hours in like a week or 2, like just straight. I didn't play anything else other than Persona 5. Because of this, playing through the most complete and definitive version of 5R sounds like it's just a perfect combination of new and what I love in a game. At the same time, I have played 20 hours of Persona 4 and really enjoyed what I played of that game, and I would like to go back and finish it. Maybe I'll watch a synopsis on the story leading up until I got to that point. That way I can just dive right back into where I was at. But yeah, I can't decide which one of these I would want to play more. And for me, it's going to be a really busy year with the Persona series because P3 Reload also comes out very soon. And so I want to try to finish one of these before that game comes out. Ultimately, I'm probably going to play all 3 this year, and I will be sure to release some videos about my thoughts on each one. But yeah, Persona games just check a lot of boxes for me, like what I talked about the Fire Emblem series as far as building relationships with your party members and kind of unlocking new interactions with them and new skills and stuff like that. It's just like right up my alley. I also think their dark urban fantasy settings are really cool, and they challenge the social norms and pose questions about people, society, morality, and why things are the way they are, and maybe why they shouldn't be the way that they are. And I can't wait to just dive in and finish one, if not both of these Persona titles, as well as P3 before the end of this year. And that's going to wrap up my list for the 5 JRPGs that I want to finish in the upcoming year. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, as I said before, the best way to support me is to subscribe and like this video. Please let me know in the comments what you want to finish this year, whether it's a JRPG or not. And with that, I've been Plooper Troop, you've been the Plooper Troops, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Peace.